Hi everyone, for today's book review we're going to be checking out A History of Ship Launches and Their Ceremonies, written by George Hodkinson. This is a wonderful book that covers not just the history of the evolution of ship launching and ceremonies, but also looks at some of the superstitions and lore behind them, and also looks at other cultures and their evolution for launching ships. Reading through this book, we learn that ship launching dates all the way back to the Mesopotamian empires. Ship launches occurred with the Phoenicians, the ancient Greeks, Egyptians, and Romans. And the way they launched their ships was they basically rolled them into the water. They would build them on rollers and send them into the water. We also learned that instead of breaking a bottle of alcohol, that ceremony comes from the traditional making an animal sacrifice and then divining the fortune of the ship from the entrails of that sacrifice. Thankfully, we do not sacrifice animals now when ships are launched. I mean, if anything, now the way ships are launched, it's a little more boring. They're built in a shed, they're tacked together like Lego blocks, and then they're pushed out into the water, taken to the fitting out berth, putting all their furnishings in, and then there is a christening ceremony where a godmother or a god person comes, names the ship, breaks the bottle, and away we go. Some superstitions, though, are still quite strong. It is still believed that should the bottle break upon launching, that the ship may have bad luck. And you'll read of a cruise ship that had 2 launching and christening ceremonies to make sure that the bottle, if it did break, would absolutely break on the second time to guarantee that everything went well. What is equally fascinating is looking at other cultures and their histories. We look at history of ship launchings and ceremonies within Russia, how it evolved from the Tsarist era through to the communist and into the post-communist age. Other countries include Denmark and Japan, where Japan we are taught about the kusudama, which is the ceremonial ball that opens up as the ship is launched, and vessels built in India, where there is the Hindu Poju ceremony, which involves breaking a coconut on the ship to ensure that it has good fortune as it sails. It is thematically broken out, and you don't have to read this book from cover to cover. You can read it section by section, and there are even subsections within each chapter. There are other diverse subjects looking at the naming of lifeboats, what happens to ceremonies when ships are launched during wartime, and what I think most readers will also find interesting is what occurs when launchings go wrong. Thanks to the internet age, probably the most famous example is the Italian Princess ship Yolanda, which was launched almost complete, got into the water, and then as it was being photographed, it rolled over and sank. And you can see it featured up here in some of the photos. The bulk of this book is text, however there is an insert in the middle with about 30 photos and black and white illustrations covering various ship launches, implements, history, etc, etc, etc. You can see examples of the text and other photos up here. This is an entertaining book covering an important part of maritime law and history, and if you are fascinated about why a ship is named or why a bottle of alcohol is broken over the bow, then do check out this book. There is a healthy bibliography at the back so that you can pursue the various different subsections, cultures, and history of ship launchings. So for me, this is a 4 out of 5 captain's hats, a fantastic book looking at an important part of maritime law and ceremony. I mean, who doesn't love a good ship launching spectacle anyway? So do check this book out, A History of Ship Launches and Their Ceremonies by George Hodkinson.